Hey everybody, welcome to the video. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and today we are out working on the abandoned build site project property. This is what it was. This is a project that somebody started years ago to build a cabin out here. Never came to fruition. We ended up getting the property for a decent price, and we're trying to get everything kind of cleaned up. We pulled these logs. These are some hand-hewn logs that came from a cabin that was originally on that hilltop over there. They were all in a pile over there. Most of them are rotten. We won't be able to use a lot of them, but we pulled them out, got them stacked up so they can dry out. And we can kind of better figure out what we might actually be able to save as far as a feature piece inside of another cabin. We've ripped the floor out, the subfloor that was installed, and we also went around and did some pretty heavy bush hogging and tree clearing in a few videos as well. Check out the playlist, Abandoned Build Site. I'll put a link in the description if you want to see those videos and kind of get caught up to speed. At the time we did that, it was very, very dry out and we could not burn anything, but it has rained the past 3 or 4 days, and because it is southern Indiana and June, that means that the air is also water currently. So we are good to go as far as burning goes. We've got this pile over here. We've got that pile over there. We'll kind of pull some of the tarps and plastic out as we burn and get things cleaned up. And if you remember the previous video, I got my drone stuck up in a tree, had to cut a tree down. If you haven't seen it, go back to the previous video I posted, just watch the last couple minutes. You'll see the whole ordeal. Anyway, we gotta get that tree cleaned up as well. A lot to do and not a lot of time to do it in, so let's just go ahead and get started. You're wondering about these beams here and why we're burning these. These are nothing but, they're just pulp. These were probably the most rot out of what was in that pile. And they're just pulp. Yep, that'll fire up the comments in no time. Look at this dude. You might tell me what kind of spider that is? It's not a brown recluse. No violin or anything on his back. I've never seen a spider that looks like that. Pretty mean looking fella. I'm sure he's fine though. Anyway. That's burning down pretty good. Kind of wish I had an excavator up here to stir it around and keep it pushed together, but I don't. We're going with the old run what you brung today. Could go get the 755 and push it together a little bit later, but right now I want to head down into the woods. We cut that tree down, the drone got stuck in. I want to get that drug out of there and kind of start getting that mess cleaned up as well while we're right here working on things. If we ever get that bridge done, one day we'll just ride on across there. That'd be pretty cool. We're gonna get the tractor, use our homemade log winch. I had somebody ask in the last video what these contraptions for, these little leaf spring contraptions. Well, we're getting ready to show you. Man, tell me this, every time I see this wrap, I think there's a snake there. Every time. Excuse me, sir. Thank you. It's a little muddy today. See how the old turf tires do. I do plan on putting new tires on this tractor this fall. It's not going to be R4s and it's not going to be R1s. And it's not technically going to be turf tires. It's a tire that Tractor Time with Tim, I first saw it on his channel. he started running on his tractors, and it looks like a pretty versatile tire. They should do everything we need on the homestead. I think I'm just gonna walk up and go make my cuts first. And then we'll come back and get the tractor. It's not too far behind me. You guys probably see it actually. Then we'll get the tractor and get that thing drug up out of there. That looks a lot better. A lot better. Everything's pretty much cut up, laying down on the ground. Nothing hanging up top. Nothing that's gonna be falling on anybody when they're walking through, except for me because I don't have any balance. That's okay. Anyway, looks pretty good. May come back in the wintertime, one when it's cooler, and two, when the ground's a little bit wetter. Out here in the woods, the leaves are still pretty dry. Up there, it's not an issue, but out here, the leaves are still pretty dry. Maybe get a good snow, come out here and pile this top up and burn it, clean it up the rest of the way. But for now, I think it looks pretty good. We should be good to go to drag this feller out and get it up to the house. Just using this little adze as your tripod. Let's go get the winch. So that's what they're for. So you want to know what these fold down forks are for. I'm not a big fan of them, to be honest. We're kind of a run what you brung homestead channel, whatever you want to call it here. And I happen to have some leaf springs laying around. Thought it might be kind of fun to try. They don't really work the way I want them to. It's kind of hard to get underneath logs, and they've got so much flex. When you do get underneath, you rely on these little barbs here to hold it on there. Well, that also gets in the way of getting underneath the log. I know a lot of people are just saying go ahead and go buy forks, but a decent set of forks, or even a low-end set of forks, is around $300, and even used on Marketplace, they'll go for that much. And maybe one day we'll have the money, we can buy a set of forks, but even at that, I don't really want the length of forks running through the woods. Our trails are pretty tight as it is, and even with the loader bucket on there, sometimes that gets in the way. I honestly think the best thing I can do, somebody made the suggestion, is just get one of those grapples and hang it off a piece of chain on that front bucket on that hook I have up there. That'd probably be the fastest way. The goal is to get the logs up on those runners and off the ground. That's kind of what we're after. I'm pretty sure I'll end up just cutting these things off, going ahead and ordering one of those grapples. They're not very expensive at all. I think 30, 40 bucks, you can get a decent one. I think that'll be the quickest and most budget-friendly solution to getting the logs up on the runners. But you know what? I had a good time trying. They look cool, if anything. I'm gonna fold them up, get them out of the way. We'll get some more trees cut down. You might have noticed that other burn pile is starting to burn over there. I need to work on getting that organized just a little bit. I will say, as far as the actual winch operation on this tractor goes, I do love that. The winch part, the skidding part, has exceeded my expectations. I use this thing all the time. You guys have seen that. But these, I think it's time we just cut those off. This fire over here is, I mean, there's more dirt than there is anything. This is all the stuff we bush hogged up when it was real tall, and we just kind of raked into a pile. I do have some tops, though, kind of laying on the ground. I'm gonna get the smaller stuff cut up and thrown on the fire so it's got some heat going. And then the larger stuff we can save for firewood will get pulled up there to those runners. Got a tree over here. I'm gonna try to bring it right over that fire, but I'm kind of leaning the wrong way. And I don't have a whole lot of tree to wedge with, so. See what happens. I take just a little bit out, but it's pretty much there. She's lifted. There it is. Look at that. I'll take that. Hopefully we don't make any new friends in here. I just kind of want to get the edges cleaned up. Oh God. Oh. Well, that was a lizard. Okay. Well, that's fine. Oh gosh. Good start. Good start, Mike. I think that looks better. Looks a lot better on this side. We'll work on getting these seal plates off next. We can get those on a fire, get those burnt up out of here. Oh yeah. I've never seen them come off more graceful, if I'm being honest. Got that side cleaned out pretty well too. Happy with the way it is now anyway. Another rain will come across and some more trash will float to the top, but we'll get that picked up whenever that happens. For the time being, I think it looks a lot better. Got that pile over there pushed together a little bit. I need to get this pile kind of rolled on top of itself because I want to get these logs over here. I want to get these logs and that tree we cut down moved over to the firewood pile. But I'll see if I can get that rolled over enough to get to them. The other problem I have with it is I can't get it high enough to get over obstacles. It just ends up being too wide and awkward. But that's okay. Doing okay. It's a warm day, isn't it? Anyway, we've got quite a bit of firewood. Well, quite a bit of firewood for us. I know. Videos. YouTube, come on. Quite a bit of firewood for what we use. We don't use firewood at our home or anything like that. We just use it for camping and campouts, so we don't really store a whole lot. And we do try to give a lot away to neighbors, but our neighbors have the same problem. There's just an overabundance of dead ash trees where we're at. And because of that, everybody has way too much firewood. Pay attention to the drone shot at the end of this video. I'll go up and kind of pan around. You'll see it's kind of a supply and demand thing. We have a lot more supply of firewood. I want to take a look at these logs. They've been drying for probably a couple weeks now. And I've got that little adze. I kind of want to take a few whacks out of those and scrape them and see what they look like. But before we do that, we're gonna go down here. I want to widen this corner on this trail. We're gonna clear out this corner so it's easier to make that. I have a hard time making that with the tractor and the Ranger. And we'll give a little bit of sunlight to that cedar tree all the way around, and maybe that'll help that fella out too. Well, new plan. I just got this back from the saw shop 2 weeks ago. Said I was having a hard time starting it. Seemed like it had excessive compression, and I've been breaking recoil starters. And look at that. 2 weeks later, I broke that one already. So that's, I believe the word we're looking for here is frustration. That is frustration. Oh, it's a good feeling. If you guys know anything about chainsaws, let me know in the comments or email me. Better yet, I'll put an email in the description. Email me on this. I'm curious. Sometimes it starts great. One choke pull, one non-choke pull, she's up and running. Other times, it just rips the cord right out of your hand. And I don't know what that's all about. I tried to kind of problem solve it myself, couldn't figure it out, so that's why I ended up taking it to the saw shop and have them problem solve it for me. But clearly we're right back where we started. So if anybody knows about chainsaws and knows why it might be doing that, please email me. I love that 55. It is a great saw and I really don't want to get rid of it. And to be honest, I don't have the money for a new one right now. So if you can help me out on that, I certainly would appreciate it. What should we do? You know what never lets me down? The 755. The 755 never lets me down. Let's use the 755 to clear those out. Wouldn't make sense to me. Listen, my Rode microphone died on me. It's out of battery power, so I don't know how the audio is on this. Hopefully it's okay. Anyway, I just like to point out, it's a John Deere 755. It's a 20 horsepower tractor with a 15 horsepower PTO output. It is not made for what I'm doing for it, and yeah, it'd be way easier to rent Mike's equipment, but sometimes I just like pushing this thing, and it always delivers. I never had any major issues. Sometimes that grill slides out, but that's it. I also have to say thanks to Neil Kof from Neil Kof Dig Drive DIY. I think it is high time. Neil Kof is the one that did all the fabrication work on this quick attach. An awesome subscriber named Andy Moss sent in the quick attach brackets. I sent the bucket up to Neil, and Neil did all the fabrication work as far as the pins, as far as getting everything welded to the bucket. He even straightened my bucket out quite a bit because it was pretty heavily damaged. Imagine that. Anyway, it is beyond past time to go ahead and classify Neil Kof's work as Kleeman proof, because we have put this bucket through the paces. Oops, sorry Neil, doesn't quite fit on there, right? We have put this bucket through its paces, and it has not failed or even shown any sign of failure or weakness yet. To have the whole Kleeman proof sticker, that's pretty awesome. Seriously though, you need to go check out Neil Kof's channel. Link in the description. Mike, please remember an info card. This is just my personal opinion, but I swear he has the best videos on YouTube when it comes to telling stories, when it comes to tractors, when it comes to just everything he does. The way he does his videos, by far the #1 channel I look for whenever they upload. Click on it every time. Love it. Go check him out. Give him some love. Tell him Kleeman sent you, and thank him for the awesome fabrication job on this bucket. I cannot believe it withstands the abuse that I do to it. I want to look at these logs real quick. Remember earlier I said they've been sitting there uncovered and piled together, like in contact with each other. So they weren't in the best of, they weren't stored very well is the best way to put it. But I'll show you where we're looking to use them whenever we do get to this project, which this building will come after the YouTube yacht. You can see there will be a dividing wall between these two rooms. We hope to put the logs across there so you can see the log on both sides. Like I mentioned earlier, nothing structural, purely aesthetic, I guess, but the main reason is I just want to save a little bit of history. This was the first cabin on this ridge well over 100 years ago. And I know they're not the prettiest, but I think we might be able to clean them up actually. They're not the prettiest, and I know they won't be worth much structurally, but just the whole saving the history aspect of it, I think they belong here. And if I can save a few of them, by golly, we're going to. So you can see there is quite a bit of rot on the outside. That's to be expected with the way they were stored. But they get pretty solid pretty quick. You can see I took a little chunk out there already, but if we just take a little bit out, look at that. Not very far in, and it gets pretty solid. And that says it's definitely oak. I'm assuming red oak. I'm not 100% sure. Red oak was pretty common for cabins in this area in that time period. And I'd be lying if I didn't say I have a little bit of chills thinking about the fact that the last time an adze hit one of these logs, was well over 100 years ago to build these people's homestead. And that's pretty wild to think. I think the game plan from here is, one, I've got to get an actual real set of forks. I don't want to mess with these with that, with those. I used Mike's mini excavator to stack these, but I need to get a real set of forks for that tractor. I know that. Go through them, power wash them, maybe get a draw knife, clean up the rot on the edge as best as we can. Do the math on how many we need to do that dividing wall. Take our pick of the litter here and then get them stored properly. That'd be the next step for these logs. But I'm pretty excited. I'm more optimistic than when I originally was. I'm gonna let these fires burn down for a few hours. We'll come back and check on them in a couple hours, and we'll get some drone flights, wrap this thing up. There's one right there. It's got some really big.
A blackberry? There is a blackberry?
It's a blackberry. Well, these are kind of small.
Oh yeah, big juicies.
They're not bad though. You will help Mama pick? I'm gonna show them how everything burnt down real quick. This one cooked down pretty good. Still got some of the smaller stuff, but you can see there's still quite a bit of heat up in there, pushing through everything. We'll just let it do what it does over the next few days. If there's anything left, we'll just end up burying it. This one burnt through all of that dirt that we threw up on there. Look at that, burnt through it all. That's fantastic. I might actually just grab the tractor and just fold her back over one more time. That looks really good. Yeah, let's do that. Got both those piles pushed together pretty well, just kind of piled on top of the hot coals. Whatever cooks down, cooks down. And like I said, if there's anything left, we'll just bury it. We definitely have plenty of room or places to bury this stuff on the property if need be. We're just trying to get rid of the bulk of it. This is what it looked like when we first bought the property, just so you kind of have a perspective on the progress that we've made. You can see the old subfloor sitting there all rotted through with the OSB and the plastic. And then there's the little John Deere 755 clearing that overgrowth with the Wappa Choppa. We definitely have a couple videos on that, so feel free to go check those out if you want to get caught up to speed or see what it looked like at the beginning of this process or project. But here's where we're at now, and we are definitely happy with the progress we have made this summer. It's only been a couple months, and already you can see a pretty big change. Honestly, I'd say 1 or 2 more work days up around the build site with removing some dead trees and a little bit more bush hogging and some pulverizing with our little gill pulverizer. It goes behind that tractor, and we'll be ready for seed and straw. And that's as far as we're going to take this part of the property. Just get it seeded and strawed and let it sit until we're ready to do an actual cabin build on it. Of course, we still have the timber bridge project on this piece of property that we're going to be working on. And then once we get that bridge built, we'll be moving to the other half of the property, which we're flying over now. And we plan on building a little primitive campsite back there for us. You're looking to that is Rainbow Lake, is Hoosier National Forest property, and you can kind of see Mike's lot down there if you look real close. Most of this is Hoosier National Forest property that backs up against our property, which we really, really love that. But you can see what I was talking about. We definitely have lots of trees in the area, and you can see all the dead ash trees, the dead tops that are poking through as well, and that's what we're talking about when we say we have so much firewood available. We definitely have some more great content coming up on the channel. We're going to do another work day on the bridge coming up where we come and tuck point all the stone for the stone piers. We're going to try to get the logs cleaned up the rest of the way and get some more burnt down there and get that cleaned up the rest of the way to get it ready to go. Of course, more YouTube yacht projects coming up. In just a couple weeks, we're going to be getting down there and getting the plumbing done, the rebar done, and then the floor slab will come hopefully at the end of August. So we're pretty excited about that. Hope you guys are enjoying the channel. Hope you're enjoying the content. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.